When I was in middle school, I think it was grade 7, one of the cutest girls at school gave this guy a hug at lunch. And after that, I asked her for a hug, and she gave me one. And I was through the roof excited. Pretty sure it was my first hug ever, like proper hug from a girl. The next year, in grade 8, during lunchtime, I had my first ever kiss with my girlfriend at the time, with whom I had this long-term relationship of a grand total of 9 days. Again, I was through the roof excited. I had never experienced that before. As the years went by, as high school and university and post-university came about, I had other first-time experiences and other relationships with women, and I very much had different needs and desires than back in middle school when a hug and a kiss had been the peaks for me. Relationships can be the hardest thing in the world, and they can have all kinds of effects on your mental health. It's two people who are striving to learn more about each other while learning about themselves, while balancing this urge to reveal more about themselves with this urge to be careful with how much they reveal and when they reveal it and how they reveal it, and all kinds of things from logistics to variables that are out of their control. All these things can come into play that can essentially make or break a relationship. One thing that I've learned is just how much your current needs can come into play in a relationship, and how a lot of times the reason that relationships don't work out is because of different needs that different people have at different times. Different needs at different times. I went through all of high school and university without having been in a relationship. Looking back, to be honest, it really wasn't on my radar. After university, I would look back and I wondered why. And while there were, of course, a bunch of reasons, a huge one that I discovered was that I didn't need to be in a relationship at the time. My needs at the time were being met in ways that didn't require the need for a partner. That oh so fundamental need for belonging and for having people to open up to and share things about yourself and also to learn about them, those needs were being met via the friends that I had. After university, as I've talked about in previous videos, I lost the structure and I lost the friend group, and for years, at least 2 years after I graduated, I was in a lot of ways living in denial that university was done, and living in denial at just how much my friends were a part of me. I need to make that clear. My friends were such a part of me. They were a critical piece of my identity. When university ended and they were no longer around all the time, I had this reality shock of just how much my confidence and sense of self and need for belonging was tied in to these people, these friends of mine. All of a sudden, there was this void of feeling like I belonged and that I had people around me to open up to and just to be myself around, there was a void that needed to be filled. Like I've said, my first job was a really tough experience because I couldn't be myself. It was all new people and a new environment and new written and unwritten rules, and yet it really made me miss that safe space where you could be yourself that my friends had given me for all those years. Around that time, I was also falling in love with someone, and I was out of my mind, confused and scared, and had no idea what was going on with my feelings. During that relationship, I had a super hard time making sense of what I was feeling and what I wanted and what I needed. And even after it ended, I still struggled to understand what it was that I had wanted and had needed from it. It took me a long time, years, to discover that what I needed from a relationship was the same thing that my friends had given me in university. It was the same thing that, to a large extent, we all end up needing sooner or later. I needed someone to be able to open up to and to feel comfortable being myself around and to be in this mutual place of safe space and trust. And like with my friends, I also needed to find myself wanting to give those same things back to someone. Not only did my friends give me all that, I also gave it to them. For the good, for the bad, for the ugly, I was there. I wanted to be there for my friends. Like with my friends, I also needed to want to be there for someone. It took me a long time to properly discover these needs, and as a result, as with many themes in this video series, my mental health suffered along the way. By not being able to discover what your needs are, and more specifically what your current needs are, since needs do change and can get met in different ways, by not discovering your needs, you can set yourself up for a lot of tough times in relationships. And you can experience a lot of ensuing mental health struggles, and not only you, but so can your partner. And as always, discovering what your current needs are is hard, and it can be uncomfortable because some needs are not comfortable. You currently could have needs that are very selfish in nature. You can have needs of seeking emotional validation from others because your previous partner didn't want you. You could be seeking the company of a lot of multiple partners and flings because you've never had it and you're like, enough's enough, I'm going for it. You could currently be extremely lonely and just want to fall asleep beside someone. You could want to be with someone with a lot of status just so you can show them off. You could want to be with someone that's very attractive just so you could show them off. You could have any variation of these needs that I just mentioned, and meanwhile, the person that you're getting involved with might have a different need. They might have the need to settle down with that special someone, and they might see you as that special someone. When you aren't honest with others about your needs, and when you aren't honest with yourself about your needs, people can get hurt. People can suffer. Mental health can suffer And like I said, figuring out and coming to terms with your relationship needs is by no means easy. There is nothing that can shatter your sense of self and make you question who you are to the core and make you learn things about yourself that you had no idea even existed. There is nothing that can make this happen the way that a relationship and intimate feelings can do so. Relationships have such a potential to affect our mental health because there is so much on the line. Relationships can also be extremely hard during university and right after university because it is a time where a lot of personal change and transitions and even shifts in identity are happening. During this time, it can be particularly hard to settle into yourself enough and long enough to discover what your deeper, more intimate needs are. But doing your best to be honest with yourself and with those with whom you get involved, however hard it may be, is so worth it and is so important. Not just for you and for your mental health, but for the other person and their mental health. In grade 7 and 8, my needs were simply hugs and kisses and nothing more complicated than that. In high school and university, they were just to enjoy myself and meet new people. Nothing too serious. After university and into the present, my current needs are, when I really look at my past, actually pretty much the same as they have always been. The same deeper needs have always really been there. They just came out in different ways and with different expectations. My needs are to feel like I am liked and loved and like I belong and like I can be myself. And also, my needs are to be able to give someone else those feelings. My needs are really just not to feel lonely. When you really think about that, my needs have always been like that, and I'm sure that it's the same way for anyone else. The difference now is that I have really discovered these needs and have made a lot of progress in coming to grips with them. And for that, I am extremely thankful. My mental health is extremely thankful.